Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo, Michael Bullock, and Didi Woodson. We're just going to dive right on in, guys. So, we started off with Smackdown Live as it was a promo segment that had Roman Reigns. It was Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. It got into it with Adam Pearce and I believe Kevin Owens also got involved in this. But oh my goodness, wow, what a start to the show! Um, Roman money on the mic as usual. Pierce was pretty good this time around, and it really, I mean, I don't think you can say anything better than what this storyline has been. This is one of the big bright spots for SmackDown Live. They deliver yet again here tonight. Anthony Florio, I'm not going to waste too much time here. It's all yours.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt. Adam Pearce has grown into a great on-screen authority figure, and seeing him used in more meaningful ways in recent weeks has been a lot of fun. This was a solid opening segment that probably lasted a few minutes longer than it needed to, but never became insufferable. Roman Reigns was more vocal than usual, which helped express his rage at being tricked. Despite being a heel, almost everything he said was true, especially when it came to his health. So, yeah. Very good way to start this show tonight. So not much more to say. Vina, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I thought this was a good segment here. Basically, what can you say? Roman Reigns. Uh, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen some pretty good heels in the past. But you guys got. Don't you guys agree that Roman Reigns right now is probably the best heel that we've seen in WWE in
I agree.
who knows how long?
I agree wholeheartedly. No one is better than the tribal chief right now. No one even comes close to him.
Yeah, it's this is why the IWC they wanted this guy to be a heel, and ever since he's been a heel, he's taken that ball and he's rolled with it big time. So major props there. So, and this is why, and saw in the segment why he is the best heel in WWE today. Yes, you got some other heels in WWE, but this to me is the top heel in WWE right now. And it's because of segments like that, like we saw here tonight, why he is the top heel in WWE. So great work by both sides, but I continue to praise Roman Reigns for what he's been doing since they turned him heel. So there's really nothing more to say. Didi Whitson, it is yours.
Yeah, this was definitely a great way to start the show tonight. Roman's, become money on the mic for being a heel. So, yeah, I'm not going to add anything else. So let's just move on.
All right, and we had our first fight of the night, which was the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Charlotte Flair and Asuka. They went up against the Riot Squad along with Billie Kay. When it was all said and done, by the way, non-title match, winner of the bout in 9 minutes are the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Charlotte Flair and Asuka wins the match in 9 minutes. Anthony Florio, it's yours. Normally the champions would lose these non-title matches, but tonight the champions prevail.
And more importantly, Raw scores a win on SmackDown turf.
Yeah.
Oh, MF.
Very true. Very true.
Oh, MF. I know you're not going to live that one down, but anyways, we are only a couple of weeks into this angle, but Billie Kay is already impacting the outcome of the Riot Squad's matches in a negative way, which means this union is doomed to fail. The match itself was pretty good and gave all 4 women a chance to showcase their skills. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott looked especially good despite Billie Kay's involvement. The women's tag team division needs a lot of work, But if the Riot Squad is one of the main duos holding it down, there is hope that it can improve in 2021. But for this, I'm going to give this about 2.5 to 3 stars for the effort. So really not much more to say. Michael Volek, 2.5 to 3 for me.
Yeah, I'll say 2.5 to 3 for me as well. I mean, yeah, this was a good match here. I mean, even though it was a non-title match, I mean, you were thinking that maybe that the Riot Squad would go over, but the champs prevailed. So, yeah, this whole thing with the Riot Squad and Billie Kay is doomed to fail, and they're going to dump her as soon as possible. And here's another thing that I was wondering going into this. The state of Asuka, because remember, she lost to Alexa Bliss in that match where she tried everything she could and it couldn't even affect Alexa Bliss, but obviously no effect whatsoever in this match. So yeah, I mean,
you could also say the same thing about Charlotte Flair too, because she's been preoccupied with Lacey Evans lately.
Exactly.
Especially with the way that how close Lacey's been getting closer with Ric Flair, her father. And yeah, I mean, there's two little angles going on, but the champions are staying laser focused when it comes to tag team division. So it seems like as of now, neither lady has been rattled by separate incidences going on Raw.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Fletch. I completely forgot about the whole thing with Lacey Evans and Charlotte. So you would think that how both of them were they were going to be going into this match because of the incidents that they're going through on Monday Night Raw, but it seems like it didn't affect them. So well done, and there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, despite the distractions that both Charlotte and Asuka faced on Raw, it seems like it didn't show any effect whatsoever.
Very true. They don't seem phased at all by what's going on Raw. They came, they were focused, they did what they needed to do, and yeah, you had to kind of knock up part of the credit for their win to Billie Kay, but it is what it is. She's out there, she's causing havoc because you don't know where she fits in at, and she's trying, I guess you could say she's trying to be an overachiever. She's just trying too hard to get approval from somebody, and it's costing her all these opportunities that she's got with all these other ladies, to where now they're gonna kick her out of Riot Squad, so she's back to square one again. So yeah, I agree with the rating. Very good match. Not much more I'm gonna add. It's yours, Fletch.
Then we had an interesting dilemma. Okay, so it was basically Daniel Bryan cutting, I don't know if it was a promo or anything else, but Sami Zayn came out and they got into it a little bit, and it led to Cesaro interrupting. And alright, so we already know about the Cesaro thing, we know what's going on with them. Well, Dolph Ziggler, I guess, had a match, and it ended up being Cesaro versus Ziggler, and Cesaro won the match in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So, alright. Weird segment, Michael Bullock, but I guess this is great news for Cesaro. More momentum for him heading into Royal Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to make of this whole the whole segment whatsoever. I mean, it was literally, craziness. I mean, but why do you have to have lame duck man out there? I mean, what does he have to do with all this? I mean, really? I mean, but here's another thing where I got a problem with. I mean, Dolph Ziggler is one of your tag team champions, and you have him lose to Cesaro, but you know what? You're right. I mean, it does continue to build the momentum for him going into the Royal Rumble, but yeah, not good for your tag team, the co-holder of the SmackDown Tag Team Champion. So, I don't know how to rate this. I mean, it was too short. I'm only going to give it 1 star. That's it. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it was too short. That was definitely the biggest gripe. Sami Zayn came out near the beginning of the show, handcuffed himself, doing this protest, having this camera crew out there to document this whole thing. And then you have these different signs he'd hold up and all this crap. I mean, it was ridiculous, him being out there. And then he decides, that he's going to get involved. I mean, it was just stupid. So I don't have anything else to say on it. I'm not even going to rate it. So it's yours.
Yeah, it was somewhat disappointing. I think there's no doubt about it. Body of work, you would think it'd be a lot better, but I don't know how you can really go and play out with everything that went down. Um, but at the end of the day, look, I understand it. I get it. Um, but this is one of those times where I wish they didn't have to go down that well, but they did anyway. All right, fine, whatever. Um, I'm somewhat disappointed, but yeah, I don't think there's really nothing more for me to add here. So, like I said, a little disappointed. I wish the match could go better, but it didn't. All right, Florio, it's yours.
Oh man, I don't know what else there is for me to say on this. But I know you guys didn't like it, but I liked it. This was what pro wrestling could be. Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler are miles ahead of most of the roster in terms of technical ability, and they didn't even need a long match to prove how good they are. A few more minutes would have helped, but they packed a lot into the time they had and told a solid story from bell to bell while Bryan provided context on commentary. Between this and his win over Bryan last week, Cesaro appears to be getting a push heading into the men's Royal Rumble match. Even if he doesn't win at the pay-per-view, it's awesome to see a talented performer being used the right way for once. Now, there's a dirt sheet going around, and Matt posted a dirt sheet that I'd like to discuss here for a moment. MF, you posted a dirt sheet about a week or so ago saying that Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro are both in line for humongous pushes. Am I correct on this?
Okay, I didn't want to address it because I wanted to save it for another time. But
okay. I didn't
no, fine. You brought it out. Cards on the table now. That's how I do it.
All right.
Nakamura is the favorite for the Royal Rumble. Nakamura is now being penned as the favorite to win the Royal Rumble, challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal title and winning the championship at WrestleMania. That was the rumor. Now, Cesaro is going to get a monster push, and this is the other part that I did not want to spoil, okay. But because you said it, Florio, I'm putting it out. Nakamura versus Cesaro is now being set up as a major rivalry where the blow-off could be at SummerSlam.
Huh. All right. So you didn't have to give too much away, but I'm sorry I didn't know that you were saving that. I mean, I should have consulted you first, but I was just so hyped about this. That's why. So, because let's face it, these two guys have been the most criminally underutilized performers, not just on SmackDown, but in all of WWE together. Can I get an amen on that?
No, I agree.
So that's really all I can say on that. But Cesaro was. I mean, I think we're starting to see the signs of that push right here and now. I'm just saying. So that's what it was all about. So but I do agree with the rating though. I'm going to give it about 1 to 1.5 for the effort. But it was a fun little sprint. That's all I can say. So with that being said, my apologies. Move on.
All right. So with that said, next up we had a match. It was 1-on-1. It was Sasha Banks, the SmackDown Women's Champion. She went up against Reginald, which is the bodyguard or the heavy or the liaison to Carmella.
Bodyguard, you're right.
Bodyguard, all right. Well, the bodyguard didn't last long. Sasha Banks wiped them out in 3 minutes and 55 seconds, or the Banks statement. Then basically after the match, Sasha Banks threw Reginald out of the ring, over the top, onto the floor, right in front of Carmella. Basically, all right, you don't got your bodyguard now. Now you fight me 1-on-1 at Royal Rumble. Dee Woodson, it's yours. This was very short, but this was technically a statement win for the boss heading into Rumble.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, the match, too short, not really anything to rate, but I mean, it was interesting to see that Reginald does have some wrestling skills. But yeah, this was, I think, more of a storyline than it was really a match. And basically, it's just to shut Carmella up from a lot of the stuff that she's spouted, And so yeah, Banks, she pulled it off. She beat the guy, and even kicked him out in front of Carmella. So yeah, very very energetic match. I'll say that that they did a good job, but with it being really short, if I was to rate it, I could probably only give it maybe half a star. So that's why I say I probably won't rate it, because it's too short to rate. But they did a good job in the end anyway, because like I said, it's storyline. That's about all it is. So it's yours, Fletch.
This was really a showcase for Sasha Banks. This was a showcase of showing why she is the boss, why she is the SmackDown Women's Champion, and just to give her some momentum going to the Royal Rumble event. Reginald has been nothing but a stooge. He hasn't really done anything meaningful, and basically, he deserved to get the comeuppance that he got tonight. Now the question becomes, is that, alright, you did that to Reginald, can you do that to Carmella? Mella's been getting somewhat of a push lately since her return, but right now, the smart money would be that you would think that Sasha would win the match, successfully defend the title, but once you go beyond that, now that's the question that really needs to be addressed, but we don't know how far that's gonna get yet. But with Dee Woodson, I totally agree. NA to maybe half to 1 star, alright, I could give you that. And Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Half a star. It's a half a star for me. As impressive as some of Reginald's acrobatics were, this match still had some sloppy moments and awkward spots that would have benefited from this bout being pre-taped. Still, this was better than anyone expected it to be, so that's a plus. The feud between Carmella and Sasha Banks didn't need this, but it was a fun change of pace from what we have seen in the past. WWE has always shied away from intergender wrestling, so it will be interesting to see if we get more matches like this down the road. But I'll give it 0.5-1. That's the best I can go. So not much more to say. Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, no rating for me. I mean, I'm with you guys on everything that you said about this, so I'm not going to waste any more time on this. Let's move on, Fletch.
Then we had one of the highly coveted matches of the night. This was highly publicized and the whole 9 yards. Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental title. The fight gets thrown out. Sami Zayn interferes. It's a no contest. Ugh. Well, there's nothing more for us to do. This is an automatic NA, no rating on the match. All this just does is now this opens the door for a triple threat. Sammy obviously wants the belt back. Apollo can make an argument that I just got shafted again. And Big E, I just feel sorry for him because we're begging and we're pleading for a meaningful IC title reign and he hasn't gotten it yet. So it's like, this one's a lose all the way around. Like, nothing came out of this that was good. Not at all. So, we'll move on along. Then we talk about, let's see. Whole bunch of other hype. They had the obstacle course. I'm not even going to dignify that with the response. Then we had Dominic Mysterio versus King Corbin. King Corbin wins the match in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Alright. My feeling goes like this. I kind of feel like in this situation, I feel like they really made... look, Corbin winning the match, alright, fine. I get it. Nothing more. Congrats. But it's one of those type of things where it's gonna come to a point where Dominic is gonna get enough of his father and he's gonna be like, I want to go on my own. And I'm feeling it. I'm sensing it. I think Dominic is gonna turn on Ray at some point. Because I think even though it's good to be in the father's, to have the father, knowing the business, knowing what to do and everything else, I think Dom is gonna get to a point where he's gonna be like, I want to be my own man, and I think he's gonna break away from the Mysterios at some point. When? I don't know, but it's definitely starting. I already see it coming, where father and son might end up fighting each other very soon. I don't know why. I just got this weird feeling. Anthony? We don't have to talk about the match, but what are you sensing it like I'm sensing it right now, or maybe am I reading a little too much into it?
No, you're not reading too much into it at all. I'm right there with you. I mean, if it goes down the way I think it does, if Dominic turns heel on his father, I can bring back one of the great commentary moments in WWE history. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, at the 1994 Royal Rumble, right here in Providence, mind you, when Owen Hart finally turned heel on Bret Hart. And I could say almost the same exact things that DiBiase said. I could say, for Dominic, it's time for him to step out of the shadow of his daddy. He doesn't need to depend on his daddy. It's time for him to make it on his own, do whatever you have to do to be, one of the best in the business, if not the best in the business. And I could say, and I could do the exact same thing DiBiase did, and MF could be the Vince McMahon, and be that babyface commentator like like DiBiase was the heel, back in '94. So if it goes down the way it does, MF, we're gonna recreate that on our commentary, no doubt about it. I'm gonna bring in the DiBiase. I'll do the applause, and I'll say it's about time that kid woke up. I see big things coming for that young man. I really do. But as far as the match is concerned, yeah, this was a dud. I'm sorry. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't good. It just was, well, we'll move on and forget about this in a week or two after one of these Mysterios beats Corbin in a rematch. It was nice to see Dominic again, but it's hard not to wonder why WWE had him skip NXT altogether. He could benefit from having more time to polish his mic skills and all that. I think he needs a little more seasoning, but, it is what it is. But, MF, you're absolutely right. There is no question about it. We're going to have a Dominic heel turn on his father, and it's going to be this generation's version of Owen and Brett, even though they're brothers, Owen and Brett. But this would be more father and son, and I will have so much fun bringing the DiBiase flavor to that commentary. You better believe it. Just like I know you'll have fun bringing the Vinnie Mac into it. So nope, not much more to say on this. Michael Bullock, I think we're heading into this generation's version of Owen and Brett, even though this is a father and son situation, and now the brother situation.
So here's what I like to ask you, Florio. If you say we're heading down that route of what we saw with Brett and Owen, do you think we could see a match between these two if they go down this route?
I can see it.
And
I'll even go. I'll actually go one further. Father versus son at WrestleMania.
There you go. I 100% agree.
Bingo. I agree with you there too. I could definitely see that going down too. I mean, if they do pull this off, which I think they should. I mean, because this will definitely get a lot of people talking. So we'll wait and see how it goes. The match, yeah, nothing really good to write home about. So Dee Woodson, what? I mean, are you with us on this one?
Yeah, pretty much.
And about maybe Ray and Dominic at WrestleMania?
Yeah. More than likely, it's going to happen. I mean, you have the child who thinks he knows everything. So yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to come down to the father versus the son. So yeah, it's about all I'm going to say on it. It's yours, Fletch.
All right. Well, then after that, I believe it got us to the main event segment of the night, because I believe Ray and Dominic, that match was the last wrestling match of the evening, and it did lead to the final thing. Now, okay, initially, from what I heard, I don't know if this was supposed to be a match. There was supposed to be a match 1-on-1 between Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce. Well, that match never happened. As it was, as basically a fight broke out between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. So basically, Heyman was gonna fight Adam Pearce. Heyman said, well, you know the rule about the card subject to change. Roman came out, attacked Adam Pearce, but then Kevin Owens came out, and we got ourselves the Rumble match. The battle for the Universal Championship came early, and Kevin Owens comes out on top of the brawl. Okay. Anthony Florio, it's yours. Give me your thoughts on the main event segment.
We might not have gotten to see Adam Pearce come out of retirement to hand Paul Heyman a beating, but we did get to see Kevin Owens destroy Roman Reigns, so the show had a happy ending. It was clear Heyman was never going to have a real match, but there was still hope for Pearce to get in a few good shots. Maybe he will have another chance in the future. The feud between Reigns and KO is being carried solely by the skill of the two men involved. The storyline is nothing special or original, but how it is being executed has been fun to watch. And we've already had 2 near 5-star classics from these two guys already. The tables, ladders, and chairs match at TLC, at the TLC event, and then Christmas night, that epic Christmas Smackdown show. They tore the house down again inside the confines of the 15-foot high steel cage. If you thought both of those matches were good, I think this match could put both of those matches to shame. I mean, we've only had a handful of last man standing matches in the history of the Royal Rumble. I actually forgot to mention one of those on our last show, but we know the last man standing matches that we have seen in the Royal Rumble. John Cena, Umaga, 2007, that tore the house down in San Antonio. 2013, Alberto Del Rio and the Big Show. They had a last man standing match, and then the most recent one that I can recall was 2016 when Kevin Owens was challenging Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, and they tore the house down. All 3 of those were special in their own way. But MF, this last man standing match you got coming up at the Rumble has the potential to make all those previous last man standing matches in Rumble history all look like duds. That's all I can say. I think these two are saving the best for last. And let's not forget, these two have history. 2017 Royal Rumble, back when they were on Raw and the Universal Championship was property of Monday Night Raw. Chris Jericho was hanging in the start cage. They had a no disqualification, no holds barred type of match, and they damn near stole the show. And they would have stolen the show had it not been for John Cena and AJ Styles, but that's a story for another day. But point is, we got something. We're looking at the fight of the night, MF. I mean, when it comes to the Royal Rumble, it's supposed to be about the Royal Rumble match, the men's and the women's. But if there was one match that could overshadow both of them, this is the match that can do it. No doubt about it. So, a solid way to end what I hate to say was a somewhat meh episode of SmackDown. I'm sorry, MF. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, solid way to bookend it. I mean, you bookended it with these guys, and both were great. But MF, I mean, or I should say Michael Bullock. But MF, I definitely want to get a quick thought on this too. When was I'm gonna channel my inner Bobby Heenan on this? When was the last time we saw Roman Reigns take a beating like this?
Man, it's been a while. It's been a long while.
Yeah.
Not that often has Roman ended up getting beaten down like that.
Yeah.
Bullock is yours.
Well, some would say that he had a beat down like this coming with what he's been doing. But yeah, this was definitely a solid way to close the show. Yeah, the beatdown was really something there, and yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to add to it. And like you said, this was a good way to close out. I hate to say it, a disappointing edition of SmackDown. So, Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Literally, I'm hitting a bag.
Yeah, they definitely bookend the whole Roman Reigns, Adam Pearce, Paul Heyman thing. And yeah, it may have ended on a happy note, but it still, was kind of disappointing. Because here you're trying to book things, and then things change at the last minute, and they're using Adam Pearce's own words against him. Adam said, "Well, yeah, card's subject to change in the basic contracts, but this was a verbal contract, and
do I want to hit a ball? Let's go get a ball."
Heyman came out there. He didn't even put a foot on the steps before he sat there and tried to play like he was tripping and falling and getting hurt and all that stuff. And he stood up for the whole match. So yeah, I mean, it was just basically a big joke. This wouldn't even be considered anything other than a newsworthy segment. So just a way to hype up the Royal Rumble match that these two've got. Having Kevin Owens come out. So yeah, not much more I'm gonna add. It's yours, Fletch.
All right. To put it in a nutshell, boys, couple of weeks, guys, we were killing it. We had the Smackdown of the year at the end. We had really good episodes going in. I gotta know, did the monkey writers from Raw invade the Fox network and just absolutely messed up our format?
They did.
Because holy cow, man.
This was Raw bad.
I was about to say, this was like Raw quality show, man.
I thought this was Friday, not Monday.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. On top of that, isn't SmackDown supposed to be like a sports oriented show? Not get into like all this other garbage like Raw would be? Oh man.
Too much too fast.
I think it was only a matter of time before we were gonna slip on the banana peel and odd live one of the Super Mario 64 no not Super Mario Super Mario racing games. Yeah, so let's just say
or like in football, it was fourth down and they punted.
Yeah, that was a punt. That was a punt. That was a blatant punt.
That was a 4th and inches punt.
Yeah. This was bad, boys. This was bad, ladies and gents. I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. One of the lowest ratings I've given a show in a long time, boys. 3 out of 10. Sorry, I got to do it. This was bad. I mean, SmackDown. I don't even know what to say right now. I'm that disappointed. I'm very disappointed with the show tonight. I don't think there's really nothing that I can say. I hope it's just, maybe it just needs tonight they probably were like, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. They're probably not going to care about this show. Besides, this is not Go Home for Rumble. Thank God this was not Go Home for Rumble. So maybe we're allowed one bad show, and then we'll give the people what they want next week. Next week's Go Home to Rumble. So you better show up on that one. But yeah, this one was just I kind of just felt like the monkey writers just stuck around an extra few days. Dee Dee, she always talking about the banana things. They probably left a whole bunch of bananas over there for the SmackDown crew. I don't know what to say. Florio, this was bad. I can't even save this. I got no words. I can't save this.
It's not monkey writers, it's monkey ritters. I mean, let's not forget that infamous blooper from the Talking Wrestling show that had us.
Oh God, Bo Peep.
Yep,
that's freaking Bo Peep.
He's the one who booked the show tonight. Little Bo Peep, who wrote that.
That freaking douchebag, Little Bo Peep. Oy.
He's the one who wrote that legendary email on Talking Wrestling about the Ritters and lack of Hummer and all that. I mean, it was the greatest moment in the history of that show. I mean, I only wish we could have I only wish one of us had the video of it so we could relive it. But anywho, yeah, this was bowling shoe, monkey butt ugly. I mean, I'm kind of surprised we did a show tonight because I kind of thought I was thinking we should have canceled this show because this was poorly done. A la Monday Night Raw. We did have one good match, which was that women's tag team match. And then the stuff with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens and Adam Pearce and Heyman. I mean, that stuff was fine. But other than that, the other matches were either duds or bad. And the obstacle course, that was completely unnecessary. But Bianca Belair, at least you showcased her. I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, she definitely deserves the chance to do so. But no, MF nailed this. This is definitely a 3 out of 10. I could probably say this was it's the worst SmackDown we've seen in a while. I mean, I cannot believe just one short month ago on Christmas night and a taped show nonetheless. That show was a damn near perfect 10. They killed that show. And then you had a solid follow-up the following week, a good 7.5 on New Year's Day. And then a couple of decent shows the last couple of weeks. But tonight, it was a punt. Cue the Gilbert Sparklers. That's how bad this was. This was Gilbert Sparkler bad. So I know, and I'm sorry, MF. I mean, I feel bad. I mean, this is the worst thing that's happened to SmackDown since they put friggin' Raw over you guys at Survivor Series. I still think you guys should have won.
I gotta say it. This has been a really bad week for wrestling altogether.
With the exception of NXT, though.
Well, with the exception of NXT, but Raw not so great. AEW was a major letdown this week.
Yeah, they punted.
And now SmackDown is like you said. Is like you said. I mean, NXT literally wiped the floor with everybody this week. Michael Bullock, you got major bragging rights this week. Out of all the 4 shows, NXT literally kicked the crap out of all 3 shows. Raw was garbage, SmackDown was garbage, and I'll call it, AEW was garbage this week.
Yes. SmackDown was, NXT was far and away the best. Not saying much, but Raw was the second best because we did have 4 good matches on that Raw show. There were 4 quality matches on the Raw. So AEW would come in third, but I'm sorry to say, MF, out of all the TV, SmackDown was hands down the worst. I mean, I thought it couldn't get any worse than that disappointing AEW the other night. Oh, no. Nah, honey. It did. So, but yeah, and you're right. Thank goodness this was not the go-home show, because if this was the go-home show, this would have gone down as one of the worst go-home shows, if not the worst go-home show in history. So, but, this is what we should have gotten on Christmas. I mean, Christmas night, this should have been a throw. I mean, with a holiday, it's not even a holiday, and they gave us a throwaway show. This would have made sense if it was a holiday, but it's not. So, I'm sorry, MF. My heart breaks for you. It really does. And yeah. So, but hopefully next week with Royal Rumble week, hopefully things will get better. Hopefully Raw and SmackDown will put forth great efforts. Hopefully NXT will continue to kick butt, and then of course, hopefully AEW will bounce back as well. So, so really not much more to say on this. I agree with MF's rating. This was a 3 out of 10. One good match, couple of good segments, but other than that, sorry, man. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, do you agree with our 3 out of 10 rating, or are you going to go worse, or what? Sorry,
3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Yeah, this was bad. And here's the saying I'm going to use. This was ugly. It was UGLY. You got no alibi. Ugly. That's how this was. You guys pretty much said everything on it. I'm not even going to waste any more time on this garbage. Dee Woodson.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Probably why I can do this job repeatedly.
Yeah, this was not that great. Yeah, I'll give it the 3 out of 10.
Can you turn around?
Yeah, we had a little bit of newsworthy. Yeah, we had a little bit of building for pay-per-view, but yeah, it sucked. It was bad.
11 seconds. That was an amazing time.
This is one of those where you can say, and that happened.
Okay. Money.
It happened.
No, why not? We'll do some overtime.
There's not much you can say about it. I mean, it was just there. It's like they rewrote it at the last minute, which they're notorious for. Apparently, they did it again. I don't know if it was because of COVID, if it was just the fact that Vince didn't like what they had, so he decided, I'm going to go through and rewrite everything. I don't care. All I know is it sucks. It's stupid.
I
So
think from what I've heard is that there was some COVID issues, but I don't know if because we haven't heard much. We do know that a SmackDown superstar or some SmackDown superstars did indeed get COVID, but we don't know who they were. But yeah, like you said, it really hurt. It really hurt tonight.
yeah, it did. So yeah, not much more I'm gonna add. So I'm going to bed, guys. Good night.
Good night, Dee Dee. And yeah, that actually will end our night. That will end our show. We really got nothing else to add. So what's gonna happen is next week is Royal Rumble week. We started off with Monday Night Raw, which will be ridiculously Raw on Monday night. Tuesday night will be actually Wednesday night Mayhem, NXT and AEW as always. Thursday night, a very special edition of Strictly Sports. As of right now, this is what we got for the docket. Heartbreaking news coming out of the world of baseball today. As we know, we lost an icon in the game. Hank Aaron passed away earlier today at the age of 86. Devastating news to the Atlanta Braves. I mean, the Brave fans are absolutely devastated, including myself. This was the biggest heartbreaker we had in a very long time. We're literally reeling right now. We're reeling. We're kind of all in a state of shock right now. But we're gonna tribute to Hank Aaron. We will recap the AFC and NFC championship games, and we'll give you our first thoughts. This is not the official prediction for the Super Bowl. No. We're just going to give you our first thoughts of the Super Bowl game. We'll give you our thoughts about what we are excited for that game. And this week, there is some hot stove of Major League Baseball. The Boston Red Sox made a big move today. Michael Bullock, I know you're probably going to be a very happy camper with the news that they got. And we actually will have, because I believe it's coming out on the 26th, we will also talk about the newest members of the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame. That's right. The Baseball Hall of Fame announcements will happen on the 26th. We will recap it and give you our thoughts on that. And if there's any other news that comes out, either Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, hockey, and there's also a big fight this weekend that I'm going to talk about as well. Or is it next week? Let me see. Hold on a second, folks. I got to see. When is is Conor McGregor this weekend or is he next weekend? I believe it's this weekend. Let's see. One moment, folks. Sorry. Just want to make sure. Because I thought MMA. The McGregor is tomorrow night. Alright. So it is tomorrow night. Alright. So, I'll give you my thoughts on the McGregor versus Dustin Poirier next week. And we'll go from there. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to add. So, 10:30 East, that will be next week, next Thursday, 10:30 Eastern. And then on Friday, Cerebral Smack Talk, Smackdown Live, and the official preview of the Royal Rumble. And then the recap on Sunday night. So nothing more to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until then, for Anthony Foyo, for Michael Bullock, for Dee Dee Woodson, I'm Good Old MF Mike Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you all on Monday night.